All right, for this video, we're gonna talk about impasto. Impasto is a painting technique in which you layer paint on thick, or I like to use the word thickly, so that it stands out from the paper, right? Or the painting surface. Okay. I talked a lot when we went over the elements and principles about the idea behind implied texture versus actual texture, where mostly in painting we're working with implied texture because most of our paint is kind of flat on the surface. This is kind of the one exception, right? Where we actually want to layer that paint up so thick that if once it dries, we actually rub our hand and finger across there, we can actually feel some texture. Okay, so impasto, layer it on thick. So if I take an example here, I'm taking, and one easy way to kind of see is that if I put this on here, I can see that this is definitely higher. It comes off the paper versus this. So this kind of area we consider impasto. Okay? Things to get different samples with this technique is seeing the different almost actual texture you can put inside this raised paint. So you can see I kind of have a bumpy kind of texture here. This is kind of a more solid and smooth, different example of impasto. Finding, another great tool to do this is grabbing that palette knife again, and you can see that if I just simply pull across the color here, this is flat to the table, where this kind of thin edge is definitely raised off the paper, and we get that impasto that way. Now with another kind of way you can get kind of this impasto look or paint coming off the painting surface is through layers, right? Through layers and layers. Now, unfortunately, acrylic paint takes a little bit to dry, right? But if I wanted to, I could come back and add another piece, more paint on top of that. I'd maybe let that paint dry, and then I could come and take and layer some more paint on top of that. You're building up paint layers to create that 3D or that texture effect. So impasto, all about the different things you can do to actually leave areas of that paint that actually build and come off your painting surface.